Welcome to Puzzled and Chatty, the international edition, with me, Adam Gray, where I talk with jigsaw puzzlers from around the world and share their stories, thoughts, and opinions on this growing competitive activity and the global puzzle community. In this episode, I sit down with not just one of the most noticeable and smiliest puzzlers in the world, but soon to be one of the most influential. You may recognize her by the iconic golden bow, but you'll definitely now know her as the architect of the new Speed Puzzle World Series, debuting in 2026. She's from Australia, she's an Aussie All Star, she's Mel Townsend. Mel and I discuss the puzzling community in Australia, the growth of speed puzzling, and of course, we discuss in detail the new Speed Puzzle World Series. So if you want to know more about this competition, and if you're thinking about attending, this is the episode to listen to. So pull up a chair and pick a puzzle off the shelf to do while you listen to two people who are puzzled and chatty. Hello and welcome to another episode of Puzzled and Chatty International Edition. I'm joined with my second guest on the opposite side of the world, as far away as you can possibly be from me right now. It is Melissa Townsend. Thank you so much for joining me, Melissa.
Thank you for having me, Adam.
Would you prefer Melissa or Mel?
Mel's fine.
Mel's fine, perfect. More casual as well. I like it.
Yeah.
So you're on here for you're on here because a lot of people do know who you are. You are quite well known, I think, based on just you're always a smiley person. I knew who you were way before I started going to Worlds, and with the Aussie All Stars, and we'll talk about all of those aspects. You've also already appeared on a Peace Talks episode, which I'm going to link in the description below because I think people should definitely watch that episode. But before we get into all the details about you, where can people find out information about you specifically?
So me specifically, my Instagram, which is Mel Townsend _ I believe. That's probably, I'm not very good at posting on socials though, so that's where I post the most. And yeah, the Aussie All Stars Instagram is where we post all our team content. And yeah, given that I'm not the one posting to that one, it's a bit more regular.
Yeah, there's been an increase on the Aussie All Stars account. I like it. The reason I asked you specifically is because you're also here for another reason on here, and that is because you are the founder, I'm going to say, of the newly announced World Series of Speed Puzzling. Congratulations. Yeah. It's a huge thing. So if people want to find out more about that, what social media platforms or channels or websites should they go to? Which will all be linked below anyways.
Okay, so the Instagram, which is Speed Puzzle on Instagram, and we've got a YouTube channel, Speed Puzzle World Series, which will have kind of more videos being posted as the closer we get to the event. We've also got a website, which is actually go to the website first. It's speedpuzzle.com. Everything is going on there. Anything that gets confirmed and updated gets straight on that website. So yeah, that's the number one place to go to.
Yeah, and I'm definitely going to we'll talk about all of this stuff as we go through, but so far, especially the website, it's not a fancy website, which I like, but it is to the point, and it's so informative that I'm thrilled with how it's all designed, and I know there's a lot of other speed puzzlers out there that feel the same way. So off to a great start for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm not going to go into a lot of your background and such. Like I mentioned, you've done a Peace Talks. You've done your big background stories with your team Aussie All Stars. But a little bit, I think, would still be nice for those who may not have seen it yet. So I ask everyone the same thing. How did you get into puzzling in general?
So puzzling in general, I've always enjoyed puzzling casually and like for leisure. And ever since I was a kid, I grew up in a pretty chaotic household, so puzzling was my way of retreating to my room and just kind of recharging by myself. And that's what I did most nights growing up. And then that kind of carried through when I was at school in uni. That was my way of recharging. And and as an adult as well. I've never not puzzled. And when I discovered, so people would comment and be like, oh, you're pretty fast at that. So I Googled competitions, and that's where I found the Queensland State Comp, and that was my first official competition that I went to. And then I did all right. So I kind of just got addicted from there. But yeah, that's kind of my journey into it. And it's just kind of taken over a bit. I absolutely love it. And what I think I loved about competing is it gave me a reason to improve puzzling. So when I puzzled for leisure, and I'm sure a lot of other people find this too, like you you do it, I don't know, you don't have a reason to get faster or better or think about the puzzle differently and the pieces differently. So speed puzzling has enabled me to have this whole new connection with the puzzle, and be far more thoughtful and mindful about the way I do it. Whereas before it was just, I don't know, very, very, very casual, very leisurely. Yeah.
Do you find I for me I do. Do you find it difficult now to do a puzzle just for fun without thinking about the speed aspect or training or anything like that?
Yeah, I do. I find that I have to do either like a really difficult puzzle or a very large puzzle for it to be for me to not speed run. Um, and that's, I think, the way that I used to challenge myself before speed puzzling is I would do really, really difficult puzzles because it was challenging for me. Whereas now the speed element is the challenging part. So yeah, if I go back to that, if I try and take it slow, it has to be either, 2000 pieces or just really, really, really hard.
Even with the hard ones, I did one that took almost 15 hours a few weeks ago. And it's just a bunch of yellow rubber ducks and absolute nightmare of a puzzle. But I still had a big timer, recorded the whole thing from start to finish. I just can't get out of the mindset, even with the really challenging puzzles.
Yeah. Do you time every puzzle you do?
Yes, essentially. Yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say no, but no, it's yes. Even if I've done a puzzle a bunch of times, I'll still have a timer running. I may not record every single attempt or like do that, but every first attempt is video recorded and tracked. But even the difficult ones, it's
I
Yeah.
don't know why.
Yeah.
And it,
and then I'll still put it into like my speed puzzling, and then my averages are all over the place because it's taking into
Yeah.
consideration this 15-hour puzzle I've just done when
that's not
Yeah. Yeah.
that's not my speed.
uh yeah, so I like how you mentioned where is kind of your retreat in a busy household, because I hear that a lot from busier types of families, while I'm the complete opposite as an only child in a very quiet household. That's all I could just there was no nothing to bother me or anything. I could do a puzzle anywhere in the house. No one's gonna care
Yeah.
about it. It's fine. And I think there's always these two extremes where it's either like yourself or people like me. It's those middle people that they're the odd ones.
Yeah.
I-
Yeah. Yeah. That is interesting.
It's so you've been to Worlds a fair bit, and you've done the Australian competitions. I'll just talk about the Australian stuff a little bit because I think what Australia is doing in general overall, I think is you're ahead of the vast majority of countries in a lot of senses, whether it's organization, prizes, we'll get to prizes, and enthusiasm, collective, like everything I think is going very well for Australia. So why? What? Why is Australia so good at just the speed puzzle community in general?
So I think one of the biggest points of difference that Australia does that I don't think other countries do is we hold state events once a year in each state. I think Northern Territory is the only state that doesn't have an annual state event. So that means that, and I can attest to this because I've been on the planning committee for the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association for 2025. And they are big events, so each of them attract around the same amount of people as like a European nationals would. So we're talking 300 plus people at every state event, and as a planner, you're there. That's about one a month, one event a month that you're doing. And we also, another thing that's a point of difference is we have one core event team that run them all throughout the year. So we don't have separate event teams in each state running them. It's the one event team. So what that means is we can learn and implement, like we can learn from mistakes and we can implement changes month after month after month. So that's where the improvements come from, and the scale of growth and the quality of the events come from, because we don't have to wait a year to implement those changes. We can do it, okay, next month when we're in New South Wales, we're going to do this differently. Next month when we're in Victoria, we're going to do that differently. And because they're all big events, we're able to do that fairly easily. And yeah, and I think that really drives the enthusiasm from the community, because if they have the ability to travel, they can go to a fairly large state event every month, and many do. So yeah, and most sell out. I don't think we've had an event, state event that hasn't sold out, which is super exciting.
Yeah, that's when you know you're doing things correctly, is when there's people really trying to get tickets. It's not set up though where you need to win or place at a certain. Do you have to place at a certain position to qualify for your nationals, or is your nationals open?
It's open, yeah. So there's no qualifying for nationals. If you win a state event, then your ticket to nationals is provided to encourage our state winners to go and attend the national competition. But yeah, that's otherwise it's open to anyone. Yeah.
Chat.
Yeah, we'll come. Well, definitely gonna come back to the prizes, but I think whoever's running the Canadian, I know who's running the Canadian Association. I think that Australia might be a country that they've been looking at. We're both similar in terms of overall size, in terms of country. Although most of yours is down the one coast, except for lonely Perth off to the side. But
Yeah.
it's not necessarily, it's not easy to travel in Canada. But we have 10 provinces, 3 territories, and I think we have 7 or 8 regional competitions next year in different provinces. So that's a big jump up from the 1 or 2 that we normally have.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, Australia might be something that's influencing that. And it goes well. Like, we sell out of all our stuff within minutes. I think our nationals last year, it was within 5 minutes.
Every spot was gone. It
Wow.
was-
Yeah, for the individuals at least it was. And pairs was like 8 minutes.
we're
Wow.
Massively expanding next year. Uh, well, we have to, because it's just getting so competitive with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, I think there's between Canada and Australia, there's a lot of similarities, not just when it comes to speed puzzling. There's a crossover between the two.
And I
But
think when you're from a big country like we are, you're kind of used to that long domestic travel. So,
yeah,
like, I know for other countries might be, oh, if the event's held in a city and it's a 3 hour drive away, that seems like, quite a big commitment. For us, it's, it's down the road. It's not that far. And same with domestic flying too. We're just so used to it.
yeah,
So yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, a 3 hour drive for a competition. That's a day trip. I'm coming back home at the end
Yeah.
of.
at the end of that.
Uh, so I need to talk about the prizes, because I think you're the only country. I think you're the only country that does this, where winning means something more than a trophy. And world championships that we've all been to, that has somewhat of a monetary prize at the top, but really it's for bragging rights. But so your regionals, you get a ticket to nationals if you win,
Yeah.
and then if you win nationals, it's a big prize, right?
It is, yeah. So this year there was a shift in the way the prizes were structured to previous years. So it used to be that if you won nationals, you received a, a prize contribution, sorry, a monetary contribution towards going to the world championships. but it was conditional that you had to attend the World Championships in order to redeem that prize. So it wasn't a cash prize. It was just, if, as the national winner, if you go to Worlds, a portion of your flight ticket would be reimbursed, or, essentially maybe the equivalent of a plane ticket would be reimbursed. But what we found is that while each winner prior to this year had attended Worlds, there were quite a few people that expressed that they physically could not get there even if they won nationals. Yep. And therefore this prize would be like void, essentially, for those people who could not attend to go. And especially because it wasn't the reimbursement of the whole trip, and it's quite expensive to go from Australia to Spain, it just became like this question amongst the committee to be like, do we pivot from the need for them to go to Worlds to actualize this prize, or do we turn it into a cash prize and they can choose to use it to attend Worlds if they choose, or not if they don't. So this year we did make the pivot to cash prizes, and we also opened up those prizes to first, second, and third in each division, whereas previously only the winner of solos received that prize, other than a trophy and a puzzle. Whereas, and that was another discussion amongst the committee to say, like, if you come second place by, I don't know, a few seconds,
which happens.
Which happens, it goes from massive prize to nothing. Not nothing. You get the trophy and the puzzle, but as far as like the cash prize goes, it's like huge, generous first place and then a puzzle. So we just found that like the skill, the level of skill that is really coming, and this is not just Australia, worldwide, like the talent that is coming out with these competitors, they should all be rewarded as such. So it shouldn't just be number one. I think that top three in all three divisions, and essentially that was a discussion amongst the Australian committee, and that was all implemented at nationals and well received. It was definitely a positive change. And I think that the level of growth and maturity that the Australian Jigsaw Puzzle Association is at meant that was like those prizes were available. We could actually do that, whereas maybe in previous years it just wasn't realistic to offer that match prize money to our placements for all three divisions. So, yeah.
Is the Australian Association like a membership-based system?
Yeah, it is. So, yes and no. You don't need to be a member to attend the events, but we do have members, so you can pay for your annual membership, which gives you discounted event tickets, pre-sale access, and discounts for puzzle suppliers, puzzle retailers, and things like that. So there are a lot of benefits to attend, to being a member. And probably the biggest one, like I said before, with events selling out, and you would find this too with your Canadian events selling out so quick, having access to pre-sale could mean the difference between going and not going. So it's definitely worthwhile.
Yeah, I know the US also has a membership-based system. I think there's one other. Canada doesn't at the moment, but I think, if we keep growing to the point we are, there needs to be some, or there can be some benefits to it. But it also just helps, accountability, I think, and it makes people put the effort in a little bit more. The people running it, I mean.
Yeah.
And it's clearly paying off because, again, Australia is doing so well with what they're doing. When you won nationals in 2023
for Australia.
Yeah.
Is that the reason was that also your first Worlds the year after?
Or had you already been to Worlds?
Yeah, I had actually been to Worlds. So I competed at the Worlds before I had ever been to a nationals. So I did go to the 2023 Worlds. And I could have gone to the 2022 nationals, but I was a bit naive when I started competing, and I thought that you had to win a state comp to attend nationals. And like, I do realize how silly that is, because that would be like 7 people at nationals. But so I didn't. I did go to Worlds, and then the following year I went to nationals, and won the first nationals I attended, which Katrina Coleman had also done the year prior. That was her first competition ever, and she won. So yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah, and I think some of those stories are on your Peace Talks
Absolutely.
episode, and they're very funny listening to the four of you discuss those stories, but like your impressions of each other and everything else. It's a very
Yeah.
good listen, and so I would definitely encourage the people to watch or listen to that on wherever you get your podcast from after you finish watching this episode.
Uh, just there's time.
Yeah.
So
I don't I have this question down for anyone that I'm speaking to with this international series that I'm doing, but I don't know if it applies to Australia. Do you think there's anything that you'd like to see changed or improved or maybe built upon when it comes to Australia? Added to?
Yeah, so I do know that in 2026 we will be expanding our state events to include three divisions. So at the moment we just do the two, so either pairs and solos or teams and solos. Next year we're kind of expanding every state event to include all three, so teams, pairs, and solos. Still just the one event at each, because it will just be a 1 day event at each state, which is a pretty full on day. And then I know that the committee is working with new brands and hoping to feature more Australian, like local Australian artists in the puzzle art, which is also pretty exciting. So yeah, there's definitely some new changes coming about. Um, and then yeah, I think like the challenges that they're facing are mostly around like the puzzle logistics with holding so many large events throughout the year. That's a lot of puzzles that we need to kind of, I guess, import and bring into Australia to hold these events, and constantly chasing new art, and then also like venues, like so we're growing out of venues and we need to either add more days or bigger venues. But yeah, so there's some of the where the growth in the Australian community will go, which is all very exciting.
yeah, it's it.
Yeah, all the logistical parts behind it. It's yeah, the different venues. And yeah, with as many, I just realized with Canada having so many regionals next year, yeah, the number of sponsors you need increases, the puzzles that need to be brought in. Does Australia have any Australia brands?
Yeah, yeah. So we had La La Land, which is an Australian brand,
Okay.
do the ACT comp this year. I think that might have been the only one. That we had like Clementoni's and Funbox and a few other brands feature as well. But yeah, I think La La Land were the only Australian brand for this year, for 2025.
Okay. And yeah, you mentioned that things develop and things change, and 2026 there is going to be changes in speed puzzling, and I'm just going to go straight into it because you are the main reason for this. I'm going to go into the World Series, which there's why. I think just the first question is why create this global event, and we're going to get into the specifics here, but overall, why create a global puzzle World Series puzzle championship?
Um, the biggest motivating factor to go to all this effort and put on a new international event is the desire for a new competition format. That's where this all stemmed from. Is all the current national championships around the world championships, they all follow the same structure of elimination rounds and um, and yeah, similar, basically the same structure. And it was back in like May or June that I had this idea to be like, man, I wish there were a competition that looked like this, where speed puzzles were tested on multiple different image formats, like shape formats. And then it was like, then you would find a true measure of skill and versatility in a puzzler. And I said it out loud. I said it out loud to Lou, who I was Louise Jacket, who's the president of the AJPA, um, back in June, and we were in the car, and I said, I wish there was a competition that looked like this. And she was like, yeah, that would be really cool. And that's kind of how it all started. And I realized that there wasn't an existing platform which could implement this new format. And then I just, over time, just said, I'll do it. Like I want this to exist. I really, really want this competition to exist. And I could sit here and wish and hope that someone would create it, or I could do it. And like after running all the Australian comps with the team here, I just feel quite confident that I have the ambition, the drive, and the ability to pull off an event like this. And I hope that it's as successful as I'm planning for it to be. But yeah, that's the why.
It's any. I think it's good to really emphasize that it came from a thought in a car one day, where you never know when that really good idea is gonna come up, and you could have easily just stopped there and be like, yeah, it'd be fun, and then keep going to puzzle competitions and be like, oh, I wish it was something different, but not actually do something about it. You're one of the few people that had an idea and you're doing it.
And it's
so far, it's the early stages ish, but it's unrolling pretty well. So it was November, I believe, when suddenly something popped up on people's Instagram. Even for me, it was partially by accident, because I was typing in speedpuzzle.com, but I meant to type in. There's a US speed puzzle website that's very similar in the web address, and it just showed up on yours instead, which I didn't know was yours at the time. No one did. Why that? What was the thought process when you had that
little leak of stuff at the beginning?
So it was just before. It was August. So like I said, this thought bubble popped into my head and I said it out loud in June for the first time. And Louise really liked the idea as well. So she's like, yeah, let's do it. We can do this. So she's on the team. And my husband, Nathan, who's just his background means that he can give us really invaluable insight into, I guess, international markets, and especially like working internationally because of what he does. But so kind of it's the three of us on the team, and we decided that we were definitely going to go ahead in August and we were going to build this event. And then we decided, we were all heading over to Worlds, and we thought, well, this would be a great place to get the word out there that something, like at this point, all we had was the idea. And we bought the domain about 2 weeks before Worlds, and we just thought, okay, well, if we can direct people to the website, because there will be something on there eventually. There's nothing on there now. So I don't know if you saw it at all, the first website, but we had a countdown timer, and all it said on the website was a new international competition coming in 2026. Find out more or be the first to know, or something like that. And it had a little link where you could sign up. And I don't know if you saw them. I'll pick one up. So we had these puzzle pieces. I might have to turn off blur.
That's okay. Yeah.
Yeah, these little puzzle pieces. And we just thought, well, we've got our whole target market is in one city. So this would be a great time to kind of market it, even though we didn't have anything at that point to market other than a website. So we directed people there. And it was after Worlds that we decided, or kind of during, we decided that we would go to Munich post Worlds, and found the venue. So the venue has been selected and the dates have been selected since September, October. Okay. And because I've not run an international event before, I thought it would be as easy as that. You pick a venue, you sign the contract, bada bing, bada boom, we have an event, but it doesn't work that way. So the venue and the the date and everything has only just been announced months later, because of all the hurdles to just like being an Australian signing a venue contract in Germany, and then there's been a lot of background work to be done in setting up we had to set up the European entity SpeedPuzzle Limited, in order to proceed with signing contracts and doing all of that. So everything's been a huge work in progress. And every time I think, yes, we can announce the date, there's a new hurdle that has popped up. So we just pushed it back. But it's also kind of been beautiful timing now around the Christmas break, when everyone's on holidays, to have everything announced. And yeah, so some people have found us through the puzzle pieces. Some people found out about us through the Instagram, the website, word of mouth, and then like through your YouTube channel. We've had, in fact, when I had someone sign up on the wait list, and it said, "How did you find out about us?" And they said YouTube, and I was like, YouTube. And then I went and Googled and I found your videos, and I just thought they were amazing. And we got so much joy out of watching them and hearing about your ideas and speculations and what you think it could be. And especially because at this point we were still in the like working everything out. We had the ideas down on paper, but yeah, it was such a joy to watch that first video that you released, definitely.
Yeah, it was really, yeah, the speculate. I love the speculation stage because I'm definitely going to be wrong, but it's still fun to be like, ooh, what if?
Yeah.
And who knows? But yeah, I remember, and I think I said in that first video where there were a few people that were very wary, I think, when that countdown
Yeah.
website came up, me being one of them. Um, Growing up in the early stages of the internet, everything bad is on the internet when it first comes out. Don't give your personal information to someone you don't know. But yeah, I entered everything into that website, just whatever.
Yeah.
But it turned out to
And
be
you and many others. So because the signups were coming through hot and heavy, and then there was like this really like the speculations really came about in a negative way, saying like, don't trust it, it's a scam. And like I was seeing these people who were being public about don't trust it, like, you signed up, like so it was yeah. I was not expecting that negative reaction at all. I think especially because when the countdown timer stopped and we did that update around the format, because we thought we could announce the date and venue at that point, and we couldn't yet. So we had to put something out because the countdown timer stopped. So we released the format, and I think it was at that point that everyone was like, we still don't know who's behind it. And we made the decision to put my name out there to build that trust in the community, and it did work straight away. Like, there was relief amongst everyone. So my team didn't even know it was me, the Aussie All Stars. So before that email went out saying it's Melissa Townsend, I had a video call with my team and let them know it was me, and their jaws hit the floor. They were truly, truly shocked, but I wanted them to know before they all received an email anyway. But yeah, so I think like for us, the privacy element was because we were still like working tirelessly getting these details sorted, and while we didn't have input, like questions coming our way, there was, because no one knew it was us, so we weren't dealing with input. We could just stay focused and get done what we needed to get done, as fast as possible. And that was the biggest reason. It wasn't, there was no other reason to stay private other than just, we can't answer questions because we don't have the answers, and so if we don't tell them it's us, we won't get the questions. But yeah, it was the right timing to say that that it was us behind it. So yeah.
Yeah, I saw a huge change in perceptions of the event once there was a face to put to it. And because you are fairly well known in the speed puzzle world, even though it's Yes, it's because of the Aussie All Stars, who was my pick, by the way, to win the World Championships as a team this year. So, fourth place was still amazing. In my mind, it's third
Yeah.
place, but I know it's officially fourth place. It's we know.
Uh,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, so that's and but you're also yeah, you've won at nationals, you've been at worlds and stuff before, but I saw a huge momentum in attitude change.
from
Absolutely.
that release.
What was it like keeping that secret from your Aussie All Star teammates?
It was really difficult. But it did give me a bit of an insight into, because they didn't know it was me, they could talk about it freely, and I could hear kind of, okay, well, if this is their sentiment, that I can extrapolate that to be like, this is probably what other people are saying as well. So it gave me a bit of that inside scoop to know what, they could speak openly and honestly about the website, about the, everything. And it was there was one night in Valladolid where my team, we were sitting around a hotel room and they were trying to hack the website to find out who was behind it. And I was sitting there with my husband and we're just like laughing along, but in our heads we're like, are they gonna crack it? Are they gonna? And when they couldn't, and we were just like, so like, yeah, there was it. It was very fun, very entertaining, but also very difficult to keep a secret like that from them. And then since telling them, having their support has also been a game changer. So yeah.
That's yeah. From what I
The limited stuff I know about the team as a whole, but what I do know, it seems like yeah, there'd be a lot of support and such amongst the team there. So why Germany?
or why
Um,
Munich, either one.
so the requirements we had for a location was basically ease of travel. So we wanted it to be, we did think that Europe was the right place to hold the first one, and hopefully, all being successful, we plan to move around um, for future editions. But the the first one, we thought Europe is where there's like this huge concentration of speed puzzlers. Um, there, Munich, we found it was like internationally accessible. So there was an international airport that flies you directly into the city. So we didn't want to do like um, a smaller regional city or town. We wanted to do a major city. And we just kind of landed on Germany as a really like Central European country. And then we looked at the cities within Germany and we decided on Munich. And once we had decided on Munich, we were kind of committed because we had limited time in Europe to look at venues. And we just said, okay, well, Munich, we'll go, that has, a huge international appeal. And it's easy, it's accessible. You can get the train straight from the city, from the airport into the city. Um, so we booked our tickets to Munich and we were just like, we're not leaving till we find a venue because this is happening. And luckily we did. So yeah. But that's essentially why we had people traveling in mind, most importantly, with picking a city.
And at the same time, like that seems so logical on why you would choose those types of things, but I know with a lot of events there's not always the logical decision is the one that gets made. So it's good just hearing like the reinforcement of this is exactly why we've chosen this location. So adding on to that, what did you take into consideration when you chose May, the first weekend in May?
So combination of um, we didn't want it to be too close to the World Championships. We wanted, well, it kind of came down to we wanted it to be in the first half of the year, ideally, and the venue was available for those dates. So once we had picked the venue, we worked with their availability. The first, we wanted the second and third, we wanted a Saturday, Sunday, but the Friday is a public holiday in Germany and in quite a few countries in Europe and around the world. So then we thought, okay, well, it's still a public holiday and a Saturday. So that could that could still be, feasible for people to travel. We thought for a 2-day event held over a weekend or a public holiday weekend means that people don't have to take too much time off work, too much leave to go and attend an event. And yeah, so, and the idea of having it in the first half of the year is basically it's kind of just been all engines go. And the sooner we run an event, the sooner we ran a World Series, the sooner we could learn those lessons that we need to learn. The further away it is, yes, we have more time to prepare and can put more time into things, but also means like I was talking about the Australian comps, we can learn lessons really, really quickly and implement changes really quickly. Yeah. So until we run our first World Series, we're kind of guessing, but after May, we will know what worked and what didn't. And we will know like what to do differently next time. And then we can go forward from May 2026 onwards with that clarity and certainty around the next event. And if we were waited till say November 2026, we wouldn't know those lessons until later in the year. And that's that was essentially like, let's just do it. And that really, paved the way for it to be a solo only first edition, because like that's already a lot of puzzles we need to source. That's already like it's a lot, and we've got 6 months to do it all in. And as you can see, we've now secured all of the puzzles for the comp. And but it's just, we didn't want to bite off more than we can chew, but we want to learn lessons as fast as possible.
Yeah, and I think it's important for a lot of people to remember that this is the first one. There will likely be a hiccup or two at some point because it's a huge event, but it's not something that's been running for years. So I attended my first World Championships in Spain this last September, a few months ago, and going into it, like there's a lot of us making our first appearance there. Canada had their biggest representation ever this year by a lot. And there was like a running joke going, oh, it's our first time. And then the World Championships were the World Championships and things happened, and the running joke switched to, oh, it's their first time doing it. But in reality, we knew it wasn't. In your case, it really is. It'll be the first time for not just an international event like this, but in this format. And we'll get into this stuff in a bit, but the no elimination aspect as well, and two definite different brands. We don't know if there's a third one or not, which again we'll get to, but there's a lot that's going to go into this. Over 2,000 puzzles that need to be kept secret, and there's so much that's going to happen. I'm very excited for it, the whole thing. So all the puzzles are unreleased for this. Was that a line in the sand? This had to be the case?
Yeah. For fairness, and the integrity of the competition, and have been a speed puzzler and seeing how the results are skewed when they're not, it had to be. That was kind of a non-negotiable for the team with organizing, and it has made it far more difficult. If we wanted release, we could have, it would be much easier, but that was something that we were really, really not wanting to negotiate on at all. And even if it meant we didn't get the brands that we wanted, or, whatever it may be, or, timing wise wouldn't work. It was just something we felt very, very strongly about.
I think it's just you that feels strongly about it. I think it's every competitor feels strongly about it. Because you've listed, they're not events and they're not rounds. You've listed them as challenges, 6 challenges. If you have a puzzle that has been there multiple times, or shown up in previous competitions, or been something like this, where it's just like we know what those are, there's going to be an unfair advantage at some point. And you mentioned the purpose of this is to find out who the fastest puzzler actually is, and this is the only way to attempt to do that.
Yeah.
So, like, encourage people to go and look at the website because it is very thorough and it goes through things in a lot of detail. When you get to the rules and the time, like how you record the scores with the times and providing the examples. I love when there's examples so people that are more they need those extra details. We're puzzlers. We need those details. Like it made it so easy to follow.
Um,
Yeah.
With the timing rules. Um, I mentioned in my original video that wasn't my ideal method of doing it, but it's what I assumed was going to happen. The additional time for each individual piece, that was I didn't even consider that. That why I guess I know why, but
Yeah.
how did you come up with that concept?
So, first of all, I did watch your first video with the speculations, and we did strongly consider, we nearly went down the road of doing just your rank for each round would get added up. So if you came, for example, first, then 10th, then 7th, your overall score would be 18. We went through, we picked a example pool from the world's results and we added them all up to work out, and we had like an Excel sheet with, okay, what's this scoring system look like? What's that one look like? And we found that when you added up the rank, there were a lot of ties. There are a lot of duplicates. And we found that, well, we don't want ties, especially like when it comes to the top 10. Whereas when we added up everyone's times, there were no duplicates at all. So that was our reason for going with the time versus a ranking accumulation. Purely just to avoid tie places. The question around the extra pieces, because of the way everyone needs to walk out of out of a challenge with a time, because the rank doesn't count. It's your time. So then we kind of discussed, okay, well then you can't have remaining pieces as your score. You still need to walk away with the time. So as you can see in the rules on the website, even if you mess around, if you sleep in, if you depart early, whatever it may be, you still get a time for that challenge, but it's just the total number of pieces plus the duration of the round gets added up. So we thought that was the fairest way, and we needed everyone to. And I think also, like, as a puzzler, if you don't finish a puzzle, like having pieces remaining, it's a little bit disheartening. So by thinking, oh, well, that time probably would have been my time if I finished. So everyone will walk away with either your actual time or your expected finish time, essentially, if you look at it that way.
Yeah, I do like the system. I think it makes the most sense. And
Yeah.
if this is successful and you expand into additional types of events or classifications, it's an easily transferable process if it goes into teams or pairs or whatever the future may hold. It's something that can easily be consistent. And it is something I've always thought of as well, where at Worlds, if you are I don't think it was World Championships. I need to get into the mindset of World Championships and World Series. At the World Championships, I don't really remember looking at like rules, like a year or so ago, where what would stop me from just not doing any pieces and just taking a time penalty for all 500. And in some rounds, I would have qualified anyways by not doing anything. And I think they've updated that rule since, but now here it's okay, yeah, you can choose that, but you're still getting a 75-minute penalty essentially on top of it. So
yeah, it makes much more sense with it.
So we did address that a little bit in the rules, where we've said like all available pieces must be assembled. So for example, you can't call time when you've got 10 pieces left and just say, I'll just count them up.
Yeah.
Like if the time is still going and your pieces are available to you, you must assemble them until the timer stops, and then they get counted up. So yeah, because that was something we all did the maths on again at the World Championships. So like, oh, but if I stop here, or if I don't assemble any and I just take the penalty per piece, what time would I end up with? So yeah.
Now I'm gonna ask a I'm gonna ask a question only because you experienced it, your team experienced it, I believe, at the World Championships this year in the qualifier round with the puzzle chaos pieces, manufacturer errors all over the place. Is I'm assuming that there's a because we know it can happen. Is there something in place in that event?
Yeah, so we've kind of looked at the way other championships class a puzzle manufacturing error and then how that gets accounted for, and we've kind of duplicated that rule to be okay. Well, if there's two or more adjacent pieces, it's classed as a manufacturing error. Um, yeah, so we've kind of just looked at the way other competitions are running that rule and kind of mimic that, and we'll address it as we go. But yeah,
Yeah, because I think we're all
There's a lot of us that are looking at worst case scenarios right now
yeah.
because we know worst case scenarios can happen.
Mm.
And I mentioned it in the chat I had previously to this with Victor. There was a Canadian puzzler that had the wrong puzzle inside of the right puzzle box in at Worlds. So it was the New York postcard round.
Yeah.
and inside
In the bag inside was garden birds.
Oh
like
wow. I didn't
so it
hear
was
about that. Oh my gosh.
so yeah, there's that Karen Puzzles incident like the year before where it was just the
Yes.
wrong puzzle. We all know why that happened. This
Yeah.
there was no way to predict because until you open the box, there's no way to know it.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. So
just really fun.
in our rules, it does state that if you do find anything wrong with your puzzle, raise your hand and your time will be adjusted accordingly. So because I know how flustering it is at a competition. I was in that round where Karen got the wrong puzzle, so did a few other people, um, and the time is going, everyone's puzzling, and you can't because you've got the wrong one. And yeah, I can only imagine. It hasn't happened to me personally, but I can only imagine the stress. Like your adrenaline's already at an all time high because you're starting a competition, and then that
Yeah.
happens, and I'm sure all you're doing is panicking, thinking the time is going, like I'm running out of time. So like we've definitely. I don't know if you saw the update to the rules. But we have initially the first edition of the rules had 1 minute to check that you've got the correct puzzle and to make sure that your stickers and shrink wraps cut or removed. Now we've taken that away. So, and we have kind of said that if there is an issue, raise your hand and people will come and help you and your time will be adjusted. Don't panic. So, yeah.
So this is an open the bag, go scenario.
Yes.
Awesome. Love it. Yeah, great.
Great. Because that's how we train. That's how we get ready for it. Yeah, yeah, good.
Yeah.
Love it. Yep, no notes with that. Speaking of like so the 75 minutes. Why did you come up with the 75 minutes per round? That's semifinals, finals for bigger competitions that are already established. So yeah, so why the 75s?
Yeah. So we have, again, having unique unreleased images means that we can ensure they are suitable for speed puzzlers to complete in that time frame. So that's something that we've been very mindful of. We feel that 75 minutes is enough time to determine the fastest puzzlers. And without kind of like, if we made it any shorter, like I think that's quite intimidating because even, I'm quite a strong puzzler myself. And if I got told it was a 60-minute limit, I'd go, oh, God, hopefully it's a nice puzzle then. But 75, I feel quite comfortable that even if it is on the challenging side, that I could complete it in that time frame. So I think like thinking about it like that, we just felt like 75 minutes was a good time for puzzlers to be able to complete these puzzles in that time frame, but also B, when it's a 2-day event and you're doing 6 puzzles, you don't want to be sitting there for an hour and a half, 2 hours each round. that turns into a really long day of sitting over a table puzzling. So 75 minutes per round, 3 rounds a day, just breaks it up nicely, and we should be able to, like I said, the results should be accurate enough that we can achieve the results we're looking for with the 75-minute round, excluding the last round, which is 90 minutes. So yeah.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that. I do like the 75 minutes. I think it puts more of an emphasis on that this is a international event, but it's a World Series. The purpose of the event is to find the fastest overall speed puzzler. And I liked how the website, I'm paraphrasing the website now, where it says keep the 75-minute time limit in mind before you buy your ticket. Just kind of, in my, I'm inferring from that you're kind of looking for more of the people that are towards the faster end, because you are very limited tickets. I know it's 340 total, but that's still limited in if you're based in Europe, plus the international people that may attend or will attend. So is there kind of like the World Championships? It's a free for all. Absolutely anybody can be there. And it's much more of it's a very social event overall over the course of those, over the course of that week or 5 days. The new dates were announced today for that at the time of recording, so that's weird how that worked out. But is there kind of more of a push towards really make sure that you are able to finish most puzzles in under 75 minutes on a first attempt?
Yes, yeah, there is. And like we said, with the World Championships, anyone can go. So there's what we wanted to do was kind of you've got the event on the calendar every year where anyone can go and anyone can compete, and it's very friendly, it's very social. And I'm not saying that ours will not be friendly and social, but the emphasis is on quality competition and fair competition. So we are really targeting, and I saw it at the World Championships in 2025. Just I was overwhelmed with the talent of the puzzles, like internationally. There were so many well-known puzzlers who didn't attend in 2025.
Yeah.
And like I was a bit naive thinking, oh, I'm in with a good shot here because I can list 10 people I know who were ahead of me the year before that aren't going. But so I was flabbergasted at the quality of the puzzles, the talent of the puzzlers, and really wanted to have an event that is for them. Just keep the time limit in mind, and especially because we're opening it up to a younger demographic as well. So from ages 10 and up. So that was another reason to emphasize, especially at that point in time in the website where we've emphasized it, to say, yes, it is open to ages 10 and up, but keep that time limit in mind. Because there are a lot of really, really impressive younger people out there who are just, absolute guns at puzzling, and we want them to be able to compete, and there isn't really an international forum where they currently can. So
yeah, I'm not going to mention any of their names because I don't know if they're attending, and they're definitely under 18, but there are some 10, 11, 12-year-olds that are, I really hope they attend, because that's like the next wave of puzzlers coming through. A lot of the top puzzlers right now are high 20s, 30s, and they're going to be pushed out in the near future. I think it's great that it's giving this opportunity for these new
the new competitors to come up.
It's essentially that's me being pushed out. It's okay, so the challenges, 6 of them. I know you can't reveal a lot of information and such here for obvious purposes. I think the information that is on the website is just enough to make people really question what they need to be practicing for the next 4 months, but nowhere near enough information to actually know what it is that it could possibly be when it comes to those. So just in general, the first day is challenge one. They're all Ravensburger puzzles, all unreleased puzzles, as we know. One's a gradient, one is repetition, whatever that means, and one is detailed, which could literally mean anything. But like I'm just imagining a very busy puzzle for that from my end. That would make the most sense. But why? Maybe why those? Can you answer why those three?
Yeah.
Types of designs were chosen?
So first of all, with the brand, I will just say that it was very important to us that the three image puzzles, image challenges were the same brand, so that the different brand didn't factor into your performance. It was purely just the image challenge only. So that's why we've had one brand do all three of those. And I imagine that for any future editions of this event, that will remain the same, where we'll have a singular brand do the image challenges, and then the format challenges can mix it up, because that's the whole point. That's where the challenge is. So yeah, pretty much what it says on the website about the challenges. The reason why we chose them is because I've actually been hosting speed puzzle workshops, and I know you do tips as well. And what I've noticed is you can break down the puzzle image style into really, so yes, we could have gone more specific and said fur or landscape or, photography or art, but ultimately when you break down the image to its very, very, very core element, even fur falls under one of those categories. A landscape would fall under one of those categories. And so we've basically, broken it up. And another reason is, we've tried to distill an image type into those three styles of image format, I guess. But the other reason, sorry, I'm just gathering my thoughts for a second. Oh yeah, the other reason I found is puzzling with other speed puzzlers. Like, I know which of those three I would perform best at, and I also know which of those three I would do the worst at. And from fellow puzzlers, I know what they would do well at and what they would struggle at, because everyone's brains are so different. The way we perceive images and see those image elements are so differently perceived, and that's where the test is. So I don't think it's necessarily what's on the image. It's your style of puzzling on that image element that would make the difference. And it also means that, like, for the really fast puzzle, or for anyone who's wanting to attend, like, you're going to have to really strengthen that weakness to perform well overall. So I know that I'm not competing at this, but I know if I was, which image style I would be really practicing in order to perform well overall. Yeah.
It's you mentioned it there. Is it difficult for you to not compete at this?
I think at first the idea of not competing was a bit sad for me. But then there was a bit of a turning point, and I had this realization, and it was a really beautiful moment where I just said, this is not for me. This event that I'm building and creating alongside my team is not for me. It is for the sport. It is for the growth of the community. It's because speed puzzling internationally needs a format like this. So it's, as soon as I broke away from thinking it was for me, and I'm not going to lie, at the beginning it was like I wanted to attend an event like this. But as soon as I broke away from that mindset, and I had this really, this moment in time, it's not for me, it's for the sport. And now, honestly, like, now I'm just so excited to be on this side of the event. And I love knowing what I'm bringing, what I'm offering, and what people will get to experience at these events, because that's truly, truly special in itself. And there's still many other events I can compete at to remain competitive myself, but I don't foresee that at what point in time I would be able to step in and compete. And having those image challenges, choosing artwork that is suitable for those challenges, means that there is no way that I could compete fairly. zero chance.
Yeah, obviously. And
Yeah.
it's nice having
a speed puzzler run this event, and have a voice in what the puzzles are, because you'll have a better understanding of what is suitable and what is not. Like, I can't imagine one of the puzzles will be Ravensburger Peacock puzzle. Like, it would be, I mean, it could. I'm going to say right now that would be an insane choice if that shows up for the repetition round, but
Yeah.
it would, it would, um,
you have a better understanding of what is
Yeah.
suitable for that time frame, but also what's going to push people to be actually challenged with it. And yeah, I think it's when you say it's not for you, it's that's a nice way of looking at it, and it's for these other 340 individuals this time, but also their family and friends that will watch it, how it's going to impact other competitions around the world, and then however many years this runs for. So it's 340 this year, but in reality, it's thousands upon thousands of people that you're actually doing this event for. It's which not a lot of people get to do those types of things.
No, no, no. It's pretty special.
yeah.
Into day two, the format challenges. When Challenge 4 was released, this was when I was like, here we go. This is what I was waiting for, because now we have twists all over the place. It is an unknown brand, which is why I have a bunch of different brands behind me. I couldn't choose which to put up. It's also no image in front, so there's no way to specifically train for this, which is going to frustrate a lot of speed puzzlers. I know I was at a social puzzle event yesterday, and I don't know if any of them are planning on going to this event. Some are still talking about it, but tickets are not on sale yet at the time of the recording, so we don't know. But I did three puzzles without looking or knowing what the image or brand was when it was put in front of me. And I realized really quickly, I look at the box a whole lot more than I thought I did, because I was struggling.
Yeah.
I don't know how I would train for that. How did you come up with that concept?
I think that building the puzzle using only the pieces is a skill in itself. And that was a skill that we wanted to kind of test and measure against, where like the box is a cheat sheet, and it is one that all speed puzzles should absolutely use. But yeah, the challenge in looking for the textures and colors, and I did a puzzle just yesterday without looking at the box, and it is one I had done before, but and I don't know if that's the way to train it or not, but just I just did it to kind of test myself, and I have done it before at a competition, another social one, where we weren't given the box, and I just found it was a unique way of looking at the pieces, because you notice all the little intricate details almost more than you would, because you don't have any other reference point. So it also, like, it could change your puzzle style entirely not having a box. So you might, I don't know, you might not be a sorter at all, but without the box you turn into a sorter. Like, it would just, I think it will just change if you don't start with the edges, but you're like, well, I don't have a box, so I will start with it. Like, I just feel like it's gonna really stir up the way people have trained themselves to puzzle fast, and they might really like experiment with new techniques. And I thought to myself, this style of competition, if people do train for all elements, like they the whole point is that they will themselves become much faster puzzlers, because they've now trained so many different ways of puzzling. So yeah, that's essentially the idea. And it's also, like you said, it's fun. The mystery of it is really cool. Yeah, yeah. I think that round 4, I'm hoping it really shakes up the leaderboard from the first 3. Yeah,
Yeah,
especially not knowing the brand.
That's exactly what I thought when I saw it. I know for a fact that there are some top speed puzzlers that are going to struggle with that round. There's they might practice and be amazing at it, but also the fact it's an unreleased image, there's not even like by accident they can't stumble across this in their training. So there's no way to fully prepare for it. Love that round. That's my favorite round. Participating in it, it would probably be my least favorite. But from a concept idea, I think that's why it makes it such a good round. That it's a proper challenge.
And
Yeah.
then
And then just a couple days ago, you announced the final two challenges, 5 and 6. Gibson's coming out of nowhere. I don't think that was on anyone's list.
as a potential brand,
Well done for Gibson's making an appearance at this. UK based as well, so interesting. The first one is a circle puzzle, and no one was shocked at that. I think shape had to come up at some point
Yeah.
with it, and circle is the most traditional shape. I'm glad it's not. So one of the puzzles I did without an image yesterday was one. It was a random cut, which by the way, it only crossed my mind today. Could technically be in round 4, technically, if it's, and that's just me speculating here, but technically, but it was a random cut and not a proper border. Like it was a weird shaped border, which made it even harder for no image. It was.
Yeah.
I know Gibson's doesn't do that, so that's good. But a circle puzzle, just because you had to have a circle puzzle.
kind
So
of.
we had a list of format challenges that we would be happy with. So we basically wrote a list of what type of format challenges could there be, and it's like I'm not going to lie, Adam. It kind of came down to the short time frame we're working with and what puzzles we could get that tick those boxes. So we are super stoked to have Gibson's on board and providing those two format challenges. But given the short production and delivery timeframes that we are working with, because a lot of them do need production in January for a delivery in April. So as soon as we had a brand say, yep, we can do 2 formats, great, lock it in. So
Yeah.
in future editions, I imagine the format and potential image challenges will mix up and change as different brands come on board, and we can get access to, maybe with more time frame notice, some different challenges in its own. But for this one, we're super stoked to have ticked our boxes where we wanted 3 image, we wanted a mystery, and we wanted 2 format challenges. And we are very proud of ourselves for achieving that in this time frame. Yeah.
Yeah.
And with challenge 6, just to wrap up the challenges, this was a curveball, and I don't think anyone saw this one coming because it's not 500 pieces, 636 pieces, but it's a panoramic, which Gibson's does, and 90 minutes, as you mentioned earlier, for this one, which makes sense. I'm not sure. I don't know what to think about this one. It's why is the last one so different?
Kind of to the point before, but also what we really like about the panorama challenge is your space management is really going to be a factor, because it will take up most of the length of your working space. So the way you manage your table and your space, I think that's mostly where the challenge is. And the rounds, I have not done a Gibson's round, but the Ravensburger rounds, I do know that, again, space management is really a factor with those two when you've got a limited working space. So yeah, I think that it'll be very interesting to see how we go. And we also really love having the larger, the higher piece count for the last challenge, because it will just like draw that anticipation out for that last challenge. So yeah,
I know there's some speculation that we might see
like the 1,000 piece show up for the final round. I didn't think that would be the case, just because you would need 2 hours, and even then, it's close with a lot of people. There is a speculation it could be back-to-back 500s in the last round, which I guess it'd be part of that stamina would be a challenge in that, especially as the last one. But yeah, spatial, and it was actually Victor that mentioned to me that the sixth round should be just called the spatial challenge because that's exactly what it's gonna come down to. Even though this side is 90 centimeters by 80 centimeters, which is a fair size for it. Not, I don't think people are understanding how big panoramic images are from left to right. They are, they take up space. That border is going to be a nightmare on those.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting to see if there's going to be people working at Gibson's trying to figure out why there's a massive spike in sales in the next couple months.
From all over the world.
Yeah, 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 and that's that's all part of it. Like it's we're hoping that these brands do see a spike and that they want to keep working with us and building on this relationship that we're building with them. So yeah, I agree. I think that
Yeah.
and that was all part of the, you know, sharing those brands for the Ravensburger and the Gibsons being like again, it evens out the you can even out the playing field by not telling anyone the brand, but you can also even out the playing field by telling them the brand, and then everyone has the opportunity to do some research or acquire a puzzle. And both those brands are pretty readily available worldwide. So
Yeah, the
yeah,
Gibson's puzzles, they were that was the brand for the Canadian December virtual puzzles. And I'd recommend if anyone's going to the World Series, practice the Gibsons. There's some aspects to it that you need to practice and just get used to the pieces. They're very good puzzles, but there's aspects to it. But yeah, it's good for Gibsons to they're going to be even more known than they already were. Ravensburger, they're fine. People know them. That's what makes round 4 or challenge 4 so much more interesting because whoever that company is has agreed to not publicize, which
I'm fascinated.
yeah.
I can't wait to see which company has said, yeah, this. But
Well,
it's going to be interesting regardless on how this falls into place.
currently, our relationship with the brands are um, supply relationships, and we hope to build on that in future. Um, but so there, with a supply relationship, we can choose to disclose the brand or not. So for round 4, that's been optimal because we've been able to choose whether or not we disclose that, which we've chosen not to.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
which I like, and I think is people will still enjoy the brand. Well, likely will still enjoy it's still going to help them in the long run. So it's good to see that. Um, what? Yeah. So you're just going through my questions that I have written down here. Will it be like the Australian Nationals where uh, there's a YouTube presence live while it's happening? Or will there be camera individuals? Do you have people running up and down the aisles, doing all this stuff? Like the more logistical aspects, what can people expect?
Yes, so we absolutely do intend to live stream every round, and it will be on our Speed Puzzle World Series YouTube channel. And we are talking through with companies at the moment in Munich to get that all sorted and underway. But yes, absolutely, we know that the spectator engagement is super important to the success of this event. And we really want to make it spectator friendly, both at the venue and online for family and friends watching back home. So yeah, the online presence will be emphasized as a huge importance for us on the team. Yeah.
And I like the venue has the upper area to look down on the puzzles below, and it's like a coliseum type of atmosphere in my mind. That's what I'm picturing, and it's perfect for speed puzzling and watching.
Speed puzzling because
So often at other competitions you're at the side and you can see the people in front of you, but that's really it. Being above and looking down on 340 participants, that's going to be
I don't think I've ever seen that before.
No.
So a perfect venue for
Yeah.
to hold
And that's
this.
something like we talked about before about narrowing down like cities to Munich, like narrowing down venues to the one we've chosen. So having an elevated spectator area or seating was really high up on our priority list with venues, but it really narrows down the options because we're not quite anticipating as many in-person spectators that, like, for example, a stadium might offer. But we definitely did want elevated seating, and this venue does it so perfectly. And that space upstairs is actually quite expansive. So not only do you have the balcony looking out over, but we do intend to have screens as well showing the live stream upstairs for those up in that viewing area. So yeah, it's it will be a really, really, really fantastic spectator zone for sure.
Yeah, I think
Like it seems to be coming together really well, and there's clearly a lot of thought that has gone into making sure this runs smoothly while also being enjoyable for everyone that's going to attend, whether they're a participant, competitor, or spectator, whatever it might be. It's designed for everyone to enjoy. So yeah, you've already mentioned that you. What do you hope this becomes? I guess as my last specific question for this World Series.
Our vision for the World Series is that if this one all goes really well and is super successful, we do intend to hold more. We would love to rotate the location around, just again for fairness of those who are having that travel expense, and also just to mix up the event. We would like to introduce pairs and teams, which would then expand the competition by a day or two, depending on what happens. But yeah, the idea is that it becomes this a world-class event for world-class puzzlers, put it that way.
That's a good way to put it. I think it's yeah, I think it's a good way to summarize this whole thing. And like I said, there's a lot of people that are talking about it, especially with tickets that will, by the time this is released, the first round of tickets will have been out. By the time this goes out, which will be right around the time that second wave goes out,
it might be sold out by that.
Yeah,
So
it might be, which is a crazy thought. Like for us on the team, it's yeah, that would be a dream, honestly. We know it will be a quality event. We know that people will enjoy it, and we do hope it sells out. But how quickly, we don't know.
it'll be quick. It'll, um,
it's new, it's exciting, it's the shiny thing that we haven't had before, so it will go. And I'm stressing because I'm trying to figure out, do I do that and the World Championships, or do I have 4 days to figure it out, 5 days
to figure it out. So I need to
I need to commit at some point, but we'll see how that goes. Or maybe I just take a trip to Germany and watch. Who knows? We'll see. Um, yeah, I think that was the big focus for this. There's been such a rise in speed puzzling, I think, in general, that it's going to lead to more. I've already mentioned this before, but it's going to lead to more things. What do you think? Do you have an idea as to why speed puzzling is becoming so popular?
I think in there's not a lot of new sports being introduced, and I just think like everyone I know who is a speed puzzler, it's almost like they haven't come from another sport. They haven't. I mean, some people have, but it's. Let me think about this question.
it's not
I
easy
think
because there's a lot
no.
to consider.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the growth aspect is is so cool because there's so much room for more, like the demand for more. So like introducing a new event onto the calendar of speed puzzling, I don't think it takes away from any other event. It just adds something to it. So it's very complementary to the existing calendar because demand is so high. So speed puzzlers, we're an enthusiastic bunch. Like and it is addictive, like competing and training. And it's something that I think the way that people are excelling in their speed is because it's not weather dependent for training. And nor is it really like a participation, as in you don't need to get a whole team together to practice. It's such as like your training is solitary for the most part, other than pairs and teams. But even then, you can train as a solo, which will amplify your performance in a pair and a team. So I think just the ability for puzzlers to enhance their ability any time of day, you know, it's not dependent on a lot of other things. And I think that really accelerates the growth that each personal puzzler is experiencing. And then, I think that just with a growing calendar of events means that there's more opportunity to utilize those skills and compete and improve your ranks and kind of work your way up. I think, and it's such a wholesome community too. Like I love going to these events. It just feels like a big reunion where everyone's coming together. And I've met some really, really, really wonderful friends through this community too, who I absolutely adore. And I just feel like puzzling my whole life, I had never had puzzle friends. I don't know if you feel the same way. Whereas now I have friends who I've met through this and really, really close friends. And that's a pretty beautiful thing in itself too.
Yeah, I think it's just over a year ago, maybe a year and a couple weeks ago, I did my first team puzzle practice. And it was just a weird thing to experience because growing up, you did your own puzzles. Like I might have done a puzzle with like my grandfather who was really big into puzzles. But for the most part, and for most people, it's an individual activity most of the time. And now there's so many more factors that go into it that, like you said, it's just like the World Series is adding yet another layer into what puzzling can be beyond sitting around a kitchen table doing a random puzzle. Like there's so much more that can come into it.
Yeah.
It's
and I think like the more exposure these competitions get, the more people hear about them. It's still in like I said, the growth phase is phenomenal. That year on year, that these comps are growing all around the world, and it's kind of giving people another avenue to showcase those skills.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to talk about the World Championships or whatever because that's not what this is focused on. But I just do because I am talking to people from around the world and such with this. Do you think that you'll or your team will be returning to the World Championships again in September of this year?
Or is it still up in the air? Or is the World Series is now what your focus is?
Yeah, the World Series is definitely my focus, but as we know, I can't compete in it. So I wouldn't say that the World Championships is off the cards for me or my team. We only just got the dates this morning, which is kind of the dates we anticipated because it's around the same time of year as it always is. But curious to see where it will be held. But at this point, there hasn't been a definitive decision made because we don't know where it is. And I don't know about the rest of the team, what their plans are. We'll kind of just wait and see when we get more information.
Yeah, I'm hoping that regardless of where it is, my guess is still it's going to be in the same spot for this year. But I don't want to see the Australian contingent dwindle away because we all know when the Australians are there and it just makes the whole event that much better. So I'm hoping that keeps up going. Yeah, just keeps up. And like I mentioned before, you're the Peace Talks episode where you go into much more detail about the uniforms that you all have and how everyone became the team and everything. It's a fun listen. I just have a few closing out questions that I ask everyone on this channel, whether it's the Canadian version of Puzzled and Chatty or this new international version on it. For I think a lot of us, well, we train, especially speed puzzlers. We train. We have things that we want to accomplish, and we all have our own ways of setting goals and coming up with what we want to achieve next. How do you personally go along setting realistic yet challenging goals for yourself?
Because you've won a
Um,
nationals, so
yeah.
there's like,
I have a pretty strict training technique, I guess. So like you were saying before that you record your video, a lot of the puzzles that you do, especially first time ones. Likewise, I film most puzzles that I do. I review that footage and I write down notes. So something that I find a lot of people do when they're training is they'll do a puzzle and they'll write down their time, and they'll do it again. They'll write down their time. Um, that's fine, but what I have found has really accelerated my growth in speed puzzling is writing down how could I have gone faster in that puzzle. So I'll write down the puzzle, the time I got, what strategy I used. So I'll say like I did this first and this first and this first, and what order I completed the puzzle in, and then what could I have done differently. And usually there's always something that I could do differently. And just by writing that down and reflecting on that has made a huge difference in the way that I puzzle and the way that I train. And that's really where I saw the growth come in. And reviewing the footage gives me another, I guess, another medium to find out what I could have done differently. But even just finishing the puzzle and reflecting and on that, I like if I was going to give anyone any training advice, it would just be ask yourself that one question. It could mean the difference. And then the next time you do it, implement that change, implement what you could do differently. So, yeah.
and I think that's great advice. And I know
That you also have a very supportive, significant other that helps with your training as well. So that's also a good thing to have
Yeah.
with it as well. Um, you've mentioned it already, but I also on this channel I do have a tips and tricks type of series that runs through this. It's for people that are new to speed puzzling, or even those that are more advanced that are just looking for different ways to look at things or think about things. And I ask each person that I speak to, is there a piece of advice you've given me a lot, and I've been writing them down as we've gone through. So whatever you say here, I might already have it, but
Yeah.
you've provided a lot so far. But do you have a tip or a piece of advice that I might be able to feature in a future episode?
lesson.
Um, yeah. So I would say, in addition to what I just said, actually challenge yourself to think about things differently. So if you always flip the pieces, build the edges, like try a different way. So do it. All right. So here's a good example. I know that pouring out my pieces on the left hand side and building on the right hand side is the fastest way for me to build a puzzle. And I know that because I have poured the pieces out in front and built the puzzle on the top. I have done it the other way where I've poured the pieces out on the far side of the table and built the puzzle directly in front of me. And I've pulled the pieces out on my right hand side and built on the left hand side. So, and then I've trained, I having done that, I can now determine quite with a lot of certainty that the fastest way is to have my pieces on the left. And I think that's something a lot of people don't challenge themselves to actually test that on. And I think here's a really key piece of advice. If you only practice on new puzzles, ones that you've never done, you cannot do that style of training, because the new puzzle, you don't have anything to compare it to. So if you want to change the way you train, if you want to implement a new tactic or experiment with a new tactic, choose a puzzle that you've done 20 times and the image back to front, because then your technique is what will make the difference in your time, not the puzzle image being easier or harder. So that's probably my biggest key advice is train on old puzzles you've done a million times. Don't train on new puzzles. That's how you
Excellent.
get
Love it.
that's how you get faster. Yeah.
Love it, because I think a lot of people do that, and myself included. In my earlier days of training, it was get through as many different puzzles as possible, move on to the next, and keep on going. And you do learn a little bit, but yeah, you're not building the techniques that you
No.
really need, especially when the puzzles are super different from each other.
No,
Yeah.
excellent.
And I do
So
attribute early growth to that because I only owned about 5 puzzles. So I just did them over and over and over again. I rotated them and when the image was so in my brain that the image wasn't making any difference anymore to my times, it was only technique and doing things a different way approaching it in a different order. Like that made the difference with the time, not image recognition. So yeah, do a puzzle to death, know the image to death, and then that is your golden nugget to actually getting faster.
yeah, I think it's great advice.
Yeah, so I just have a few quick fire questions left that I ask everybody. Before I go into that, I just want to restate that you have various social media channels that people can reach out to you on. Everything's in the description below. The websites for the World Series of speed puzzling. Check that out. Even if people decide not to go, you'll be able to watch on YouTube, and who knows what's going to happen to this in the future. So there's so much in there with it. So with that, just some quick fire questions, whatever comes to mind first.
Go with it.
Okay.
All right. Your favorite puzzle brand?
Probably Ravensburger. That's one I did growing up and what I own the most of. Yeah.
Your favorite piece count?
Piece count. Oh, 1,000? Question mark?
It's surprising how many people say thousands that I speak to. Even though we're speed puzzlers, a lot say thousands.
Yeah.
Your favorite cut style?
Standard. Yeah. Ribbon.
Your favorite speed puzzle event?
Speed puzzle event. I would say the Australian Nationals that just took place. That was awesome.
I watched most of it. It was it was good.
Oh wait. You're talking about like divisions?
It can be anything. It can be the actual event itself like that, or it can be a division.
We'll do both.
Okay.
Australian Nationals and your favorite division of it.
Teams. I love competing in teams.
Yeah, that's the least surprising answer I'll get from you. Your favorite puzzler, and I'm gonna make you pick one.
No.
Because I know what the other answer is, and I'm not going to have it.
I can't.
I know, that's fine. Is it the
three? Is it the three on your team? Yep.
It is.
That's fine. I thought I was going to catch you there, but no, I'm not going to force you to pick one in there.
Your favorite puzzle that you've ever done?
I would say it's probably due to nostalgia the most is one that I did a lot growing up as a kid, and it's two tigers. It's a Ravensburger. It's really, really old. It's two tigers, and there's this like tiger in the clouds with lightning, and it's very nostalgic for me. So yeah, that would be probably my favorite.
Nice.
The hardest puzzle that you've ever done?
Oh gosh, the one that is the hardest. I've got a 5,000 piece one of Canada, actually, Moraine Lake, and it's stunning. It's so beautiful, but it is very, very difficult because there's so much repetition in all the trees and the snow and the mountains, and 5,000 pieces, it's a lot, but it's a good one to just not speed run at all. Just take your time with it, but yeah.
Yeah, landscape's not my thing.
The least favorite design for you to see on a puzzle?
Oh, busy, chaotic, detailed, random, doesn't make sense. Yeah. Like
So
that chaos behind you.
I was about to say your semi-final puzzle at Worlds, that one?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's with a heartbreaking result as well. You were just behind the Canadian who
Just missed it as well. I think it was, what, 3 seconds in total? It's just, oh, but yeah, I'm the opposite. I love these types of puzzles. I wish I was in that round and not the kimono one, Blossom Walk. Ugh.
Oh yeah, yeah.
um
See, it, like just kind of tangent, like that one I came, I think, with Cute Kawaii 63rd or something, 62 or 63, and with the Paris Rainbow one just before, I would have come like seventh. So like just the difference in, and you know, this is just again a test to why we've chosen the puzzle image challenges we have. But yeah, like that's the difference was incredible. I would have loved Paris Rainbow.
yeah.
I that would have been my worst case scenario for that. It's a grind, especially yeah. But yeah, I think that reemphasizes, as you said, this is the purpose of the World Series. Luck is being removed more or less from this. It's an actual testament to skill. Perfect way to kind of wrap this up. Your favorite way to get new puzzles. Oh no, sorry.
Oh.
Your favorite puzzle moment that you've had.
Probably my puzzle highlight would be winning the pairs semi-finals with Hannah Farthing, and this is talked about on the Peace Talks as well. But that has just been, I can't really top that moment of winning that pairs semi. It was truly unexpected and a really remarkable moment in time that I shared with her. So yeah, that's stuck in my brain. Yeah.
I'm wondering if there's going to be a moment in May that changes, that adds to that.
I imagine there will be, yes.
Your favorite way to get new puzzles.
Competitions. Yeah. I love
And
coming home with comp puzzles, especially if they've got like the competition logo on the box. It's such a cool souvenir, and they're ones that I don't think, even if I hate the puzzle, I'll never get rid of because
yeah,
it's just so cool. Yeah.
yeah.
And then the last question, your dream puzzle that you've not done but wish that you could.
I actually own it. I don't know if it's a dream puzzle. I don't really kind of, I know some people have these puzzles on, I don't know, pedestals, but I don't know. Anyway, it's a beautiful image. It's called A Dive in the Maldives, and it's a lot of like coral undersea and palm trees and then sky, and you would probably hate it, but I cannot wait to do it. It's 2,000 piece. I haven't done it yet. It's sitting on my shelf, and I'll get around to it one of these days. But that will be a very delightfully slow puzzle to do.
Excellent. Yeah, that's everything. Again, can't thank you enough for agreeing to appear on here. My call out to you in the first video and the second video on there, and you responding, it's great. And there's so many people that are going to be excited about the World Series coming up. And yeah, again, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to speak with me.
That's all right. I do have a question for you. So how do we pronounce Canadam or Canadam?
First one.
First one.
Canadam?
Canadam. So no one's ever actually really asked it outright. The reason so yeah, at the Worlds I was mentioned a few times on the YouTube channel, and it was various different pronunciations.
Yeah.
Canadam comes from I had a job years ago when I was teaching. I joined a school as a teacher, and there was already another Adam on staff, and he had been there a while, and our height differences were different. So
they were going to refer to him as Big Adam and me as Little Adam, and I
wasn't really a huge fan of that. And
yeah.
I'm from Canada, and Canada and Adam kind of share most of the same letters. They flow together, so they just went with, Canadam. And
yeah.
I'm using it now to do this, so thank you to whoever used it first many, many years ago, 14 years ago now, for it. But yeah, Canadam.
Yeah, every time I've said it out loud, I've pronounced it a different way, so I'm like, I should probably check.
Yeah,
it works anyways. I'm fine. It's whatever. Adam also works in the context of puzzling, so it's fine.
Yeah.
Thanks so much again, and all the best for your 2026, which I'm sure is going to be very exciting.
Yeah, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Should be a pretty momentous year for sure.
All right. Have a good rest of your day, week, holiday, everything else coming up, and I'm sure we'll speak soon again.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.